Hi, Deb.
Hey, Deb.
Witness number 5.
Hello. From 1941 to 1945, in Nazi Germany, over 6 million Jewish men, women, and children lost their lives due to the policy of the Third Reich. Many of you may have had loved ones who witnessed these horrors firsthand, or have even heard about them in the media. I personally have had 2 grandfathers who served in World War II during the time and witnessed these horrors. Their stories are more powerful than any history book could ever tell. The sole reason for the occurrence of these horrors was because under the Third Reich, Germany was transformed into a fascist totalitarian state which controlled nearly all aspects of life. The first effect of the Nazi regime I will be discussing today will be the cultural effect of people's way of life at the time. Secondly, I will describe Nazi policy and how it would allow my third point, which is the Holocaust, or the mass killing of the Jews. After Hitler's rise to power in 1933, he founded the Reich Ministry of Public Enlightenment and Propaganda, headed by Joseph Goebbels. Under Joseph Goebbels, he transformed the Enlightenment into a fascist totalitarian state. Propaganda is when a group of people try to influence a certain way of thinking onto an entire population. According to the Holocaust Archive research team, one of Joseph Goebbels' first acts of power was to organize the burning of all unacceptable books. He also commenced a one-day Jewish boycott of all Jewish businesses, which would lead to the direct violence of the Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, where Jewish synagogues were burned and many Jewish people assaulted. They built enormous architecture to help empower the greatness of their political movement. In literature, they created a blacklist of books to be removed from libraries while supporting the works of Adolf Bartels, which was a Nazi sympathizer. Many of the acceptable works were war novels said to prepare the public for the conflict to come and to create a patriotic sense of the Nazi Party. Nazi films played an important role in disseminating racial anti-Semitism. Nazi films portrayed Jews as subhuman creatures infiltrating their perfect Aryan society. The promotion of the Aryan way of life and suppression of other forms of art was all in an effort to purify Nazi Germany. Racism, especially anti-Semitism, was a central feature of the regime. The Germanic peoples were considered to be the purest of the Aryan race, and were therefore the master race. Millions of Jews and others deemed undesirable were persecuted and murdered during the Holocaust. Members of the liberal, socialist, and communist opposition were killed, imprisoned, or exiled. Education focused on racial biology, population policy, and fitness for the military service. Career and educational opportunities for women were also curtailed. The implement of the regime's racial policies accumulated in the mass murder of Jews and other minorities during the Holocaust. As you can see, many of these horrors were committed within Nazi law and became accepted through the culture among fascist believers. Adolf Hitler had the final say in both legislation and foreign policies. Nazi foreign policy was guided by the racist belief that the Aryan race was destined to expand their borders with military force, and that an enlarged, racially superior German population would establish permanent rule in Eastern Europe and in the Soviet Union. Women played a vital role in this policy, as the Third Reich wanted to enlarge the population in order to support the vast amounts of land they were to acquire. All racially pure women were encouraged to bear as much Aryan children as possible. The Nazi belief that they were destined to take domination over the world led to a series of aggressive demands towards neighboring countries. As the Nazi Germany made these demands, they would threaten war if they were not met. Hitler made a pact with Joseph Stalin of the USSR and invaded Poland in September of 1939, launching World War II in Europe. In alliance with Italy and smaller Axis powers, Germany conquered most of Europe, and by 1940 threatened Great Britain. Within this belief, racially inferior people such as Jews, gypsies, and the mentally handicapped were also to be eliminated as swiftly as possible before further contamination of the public was to be. Third Reich began this by the institution of concentration camps. Their purpose? To detain political and ideological opponents. The Third Reich used the Schutzstaffel, or SS troops, to concentrate and monitor the Jewish population, as well as to facilitate the deportation of them. Under the power of Heinrich Himmler, the SS became one of the largest and most powerful organizations within the Third Reich. From 1939 to 1945, the SS troops committed numerous crimes against humanity, and were outlawed after the fall of the Third Reich in 1945. In the fall of 1941, Operation Reinhardt was put into place. Its goal? To systematically murder the entire Jewish population. Heinrich Himmler's speeches at the Posen Conference discussed why Nazi leadership found it necessary to kill the Jewish women and children, as well as the men. According to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum Encyclopedia, from 1941 to 1945, of the current 9 million Jewish men, women, and children living in Europe, over 2/3 of them would lose their lives as a direct result to the Nazi regime. A network of about 42,500 facilities in Germany and German-occupied territories were used to concentrate, confine, and kill Jews and other victims. As you have heard, Nazi policy created a society in which allowed the oppression of the Jewish way of life, and later led to the mass killing of the many Jews. Although these events may have happened 80 years ago, the lessons we can learn from them is never-ending. From the words of Winston Churchill, who was the Prime Minister for Great Britain during World War II, those who failed to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So we must also learn from the horrors of the past, so we can create a better world for tomorrow. Thank you.